Blue Sky is the next big Twitter killer, or at least that's what the left wants you to believe. Hey, everybody, I'm Steve Green with Bill Whittle and Scott Ott. This is Right Angle, brought to you by the members at BillWhittle.com. Gentlemen, Scott, I know you'll appreciate this. We're both big fans of the James Brooks movie, Broadcast News, starring Albert Brooks. No relation, I don't think. But the one scene that always springs to my mind is when the exasperated news division chief says to Holly Hunter's character, who's just this hyper OCD segment producer, he says, "Must be nice to always believe you know better and always think you're the smartest person in the room." And Holly Hunter, you can see she's about to snap back at him with some wise-ass remark, and then her face changes all of a sudden, and she says, "No, it's awful.
It's awful."
And This is the moment of clarity that our progressive friends need to have when it comes to Twitter slayers, or X slayers, I guess I should say. In this case, Blue Sky. Gentlemen, The Atlantic, which I have to read for work, okay? It's part of my job. The magazine beclowned themselves yet again. It was an article headlined, "The Right has a Blue Sky problem." And for those who don't know, which would be the overwhelming majority of sentient beings, Blue Sky is this progressive alternative to X. Now,
that's a real problem.
Yeah. It's they've got literally tens of users since the election. Actually, it's something like 10 million, but I mean that's actually a drop in the bucket. And that number might be an exaggeration for reasons I'll get to in a minute. But Bill, according to this article in The Atlantic, if X becomes more explicitly right-wing, it will be a far bigger conservative echo chamber than either Gab or Truth Social. And by the way, this is despite a recent survey showing that X is where equal numbers of conservatives and lefties get their news from.
Right.
It's about 47% each. Yeah,
That's right.
It's pretty great. Anyway, she talks about this in this article, this gabification of X that will cause even more people with moderate and liberal sympathies to get disgusted, leave the platform, and that this is the line that killed me, Bill, and that the right will lose the ability to shape wider discourse. Bill, this is the crux of the argument. The article author, Breland, I can't remember her first name, worries that conservatives will lose our ability to communicate with the people who think social media platforms should silence conservative voices.
Yeah, it's kind of a conundrum. It's funny how that works, isn't it? You pointed out that Twitter's, I think it's 48% identify as Democrats and 47% now identify as Republicans. X rather.
It's a great balance. I love it.
Before Elon Musk bought it, it was 3 to 1. It was 67% Democrat and so on. So basically, look, what they're crying about, and this has got to do with my topic a little bit this week as well, is the left is crying about the fact that they don't get to control the culture anymore. They're leaving X because X isn't censored in their favor anymore. That's the simple explanation for it, and there is no other explanation for it. They can't survive in a world where there is open discourse because their ideas are miserable. In the marketplace of ideas, they're going bankrupt. And the only place that they can survive as a political movement is in an environment that tilts the playing field in their favor. They can't compete with one of the things that they hate the most about what Twitter became when it became X and became an open platform, a free speech platform. They couldn't stand the fact that they were being mocked as badly as they were being mocked.
Oh, Community Notes was killing them.
Oh, it was everybody's killing them. They can't handle the competition, so they're all going to Blue Sky, and that's going to be the end of X. And then it'll be nothing but conservatives on X, and then even more people will leave, and it's all just going to dry up. And it's like, listen, I have a great deal of respect for Donald Trump and stuff, but Blue Sky is as irrelevant as Truth Media is, and any of the other things that aren't X. Okay, and the same goes for YouTube. You can make, we should all move to Rumble and all the. Yes, and obviously no. It would be nice, but that's not how the network effect works. Network effect is very simple. Network effect is the value of a network is determined by the number of nodes on the network. And you can talk all you want to about setting up an alternative YouTube or an alternative Twitter or an alternative this. We post our videos on Rumble. The ones that we link on the website are posted on Rumble because they're less likely to be permanently taken down on Rumble, And there's much less of a chance of them simply eliminating the channel on Rumble. If YouTube decides they don't like us, everything we ever posted just vanishes into the vapor. So we post the videos that we link to on Rumble, but all of our views come on YouTube, all of them. And you can't get away from this. So if they're really saying that blue skies is the answer and that X is going to collapse under its own conservative weight, I've already heard stories about celebrities who have left X after Trump was elected, went over to blue skies, went from having 1.4 million followers to 212 followers, and came back to X within the space of about 6 days. So color me unimpressed and unterrified.
Yeah, and Bill, thank you for mentioning that, because it brings me to my next point that I want to talk to Scott about, and that is the surge of lefties all left X and signed up for Blue Sky. Apparently, like 10 million new members, users shortly after the election. And okay, that's kind of nice. But I wonder how many of those accounts are still active. Scott, investigative reporter Justin Schachtel, who was banned from the platform after just a couple of hours last week for saying there were only two genders, that boom, they nuked his account. They didn't just delete the post, they nuked his account. He found Blue Sky to be, and this is a quote, a safe space for seething left-wingers to engage exclusively with their political allies and to rage at their perceived enemies. And even worse, he wrote, it's perhaps the most censorship-heavy and centralized social media platform there is. And wokeness.
That's why they love it.
Yeah, and wokeness. I love their account on X. They got their Blue Sky account nuked within 30 seconds of their first post. The Babylon Bee launched their own account there, and just it's one item after another, all in a row, just getting censored for intolerance. Just that's the word, intolerance. That's the word that replaces all of their posts. Yeah. And what was the other one? Yeah, it's just. Now, forget about the other one. I just want to say that Blue Sky, it's really like the American Stasi of American social media platforms, where it's just one bossy busybody after another reporting everybody for perceived wrong thing. And where's the social in that?
You know, I'll be honest, I go onto X from time to time, but I just don't really have the stomach for people shouting at each other on any of these social media platforms. And so, like, I follow people on X who are geeks, who are talking about computer stuff. And even that can be a little bit tedious. But when Blue Sky first came out, I put my email address in there and said, notify me when I can have an account. You know, they were doing one of these things where you have to wait. And because it was, at that time, if I remember correctly, it was being pitched as like hey, this is actually a social media platform where it's not just people who think they have a better political opinion than you do, and they're, trashing you if you disagree with them. And so it took a long time for them to let me in, and I got in, and I really didn't do anything with it. And then just this week, it's funny you bring this up, just this week, I went back and thought, I wonder if that account actually exists. And I went in there, and I scrolled for a little bit, and I was like, oh, this is just more of this. And but just from a different political viewpoint. Here's a guy who I've never heard of writing, I'm posting a lot less on Twitter, and I've stopped posting completely on Threads. More and more, it's only Blue Sky for me. Well, I'm glad that Blue Skies are smiling at you. But as far as I can see, like the first post on here was from George Takei, from formerly of Star Trek, who was saying he had a picture of the White House this was at the top of the page. It says, breaking, White House to halt school tours as most Trump officials won't be allowed near minors. And then there's some things slamming Rudy Giuliani. George Conway, who's a big lefty, says in 55 days, this building, a picture of the White House, will become the epicenter of corruption on our planet. And it's just one thing after another that's just like that. However, this just tells you what kind of a sick human being I am. I don't know who this person is, but somebody wrote that it just says like post and then reply. So post says, damn, salt really does make everything better. And then reply says, really? What about the death of a loved one?
Wow, that escalated in a hurry.
It was just like, That was so. That's got the ingredient of the unexpected that all humor relies on. But anyway, that was the only good thing that I found on that page was a reference to the death of a loved one. As I scrolled down, I think they sold it as one thing, but then they turned it into what everybody thought it was going to become anyway. And it's sad. I don't know what it is in human nature that says we need to have a place where we can go and be angry at people who disagree with us or insult them or whatever. But for me, that's never been enjoyable. It's like I told you guys earlier, like I don't need to watch another TV show where everybody's miserable. And it just seems like this is one of those.
Yeah, I was huge on Twitter for a number of years. I think I signed up in 2008 or 2009. The platform was really new, and I call it my 24/7 cocktail party. I could drop in whenever I wanted to, have some clever chat, or at least what I thought was clever, with people
clever.
I liked. Yeah. And then, I'd do an Irish goodbye whenever I wanted and, show up again the next day, the next night. And I don't get into arguments on X now. When I gave up the platform when it got all progressive and censorship and all the rest. And I took a chance on it after Musk bought Twitter and turned it into X. And it's fun again. It's a cocktail party again. But again, that's because I choose who to engage with. And people who are pedantic or screaming, I just mute them. I have fun with my people, and I just do silly stuff on there. I post pictures of my cocktails and say silly stuff, and that's fun. And you can't do that on Blue Sky. You're just going to get hectored. You're going to get yelled at. You're going to get your account banned if you say anything that's factual or relevant apparently. And I was kind of blown away, despite all of this stuff about Blue Sky being just this horrible, angry place that CNET Scott Stein wrote a piece. I mean, this is this week after all of this censorship stuff was well known, that Blue Sky is the small comfort I'd been looking for.
Huh.
To which I can only say, no, it's awful. All right. That's your right angle on that, brought to you by the members of BillWhittle.com. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.